Vin Diesel rarely walked into his businesses announced. Fame changed everything: faces, voices, behavior. People acted different when they knew who you were. That was why, on this particular evening, he chose anonymity. A simple black jacket. A baseball cap pulled low. No bodyguards. No cameras. Just a man walking into what the public thought was another upscale city restaurant, but what Vin knew was his restaurant. The place looked flawless. Warm amber lights reflected off polished wooden floors. The low hum of conversation blended with soft jazz playing in the background. Servers moved swiftly between tables, plates balanced with precision, smiles trained perfectly. On the surface, it was success personified. The kind of place reviewers love to praise. Vin took a seat near the edge of the dining room. From there, he could see everything without being seen. He watched closely, not the food, not the decor, but the people. The staff's eyes told stories menus never could. Some looked exhausted. Some forced smiles that vanished the moment they turned away from customers. One server's hands trembled slightly as she poured water. Another flinched when a manager walked past. Vin had learned long ago that real leadership wasn't about profits, it was about patterns. And something about these patterns felt wrong. As he waited, he overheard fragments of conversation. A whispered apology between servers. A tense exchange near the service station. The manager's voice, sharp, impatient, cutting through the air like a blade. Customers didn't notice. They rarely did. Comfort made people blind. Vin's chest tightened. He hadn't come to inspect operations officially. He had come to feel the place. And what he felt unsettled him. He stood to head toward the restroom, passing the hallway that led to the kitchen. That was when the perfect illusion cracked. Just as Vin reached the hallway, the sound stopped him cold. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. That's what made it worse. A soft, broken sob slipped through the heavy kitchen door, raw, uncontrolled, the sound of someone trying desperately not to be heard. Vin froze mid-step. His instincts kicked in instantly, sharper than any action scene he'd ever filmed. The sob came again. Followed by a shaky breath. Vin turned slightly, pretending to check his phone, but his attention was locked on that door. Staff walked past him, eyes straight ahead. No one reacted. No one paused. That silence was louder than the crying itself. He knew that silence. It was the silence of fear. Vin stepped closer, standing just far enough not to draw attention. Behind the door, a female voice whispered between sobs, "I'm trying. I really am." Another voice, male, cold, impatient, responded sharply, "Then stop embarrassing yourself and get back out there." The door opened suddenly. A young server emerged, wiping her face quickly with the back of her hand. Her eyes were red. Her makeup smudged. When she saw Vin standing nearby, she looked down immediately, shame flooding her expression as if she had done something wrong. "Sorry," she murmured, even though he hadn't said a word. Vin felt something twist painfully in his chest. She hurried past him, shoulders hunched, disappearing back into the dining room. The kitchen door closed again, but the damage was done. The perfect restaurant illusion shattered completely. Vin stood there longer than necessary, jaw clenched. He'd built this place to be an opportunity, for chefs, servers, families trying to survive. Not a pressure cooker where dignity was crushed behind stainless steel doors. He didn't storm in. He didn't reveal himself. Not yet. Instead, he made a promise to himself right there in the hallway: before this night ended, the truth would come out. Vin returned to his table, but his appetite was gone. He watched the young server closely as she moved between tables again, face composed, smile restored like armor. But now that he'd heard her cry, he saw everything: the stiffness in her posture, the way she avoided eye contact with the manager, the speed with which she apologized for things that weren't her fault. When she came to his table, Vin spoke gently. "Long shift?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Double," she said softly. Something in her voice cracked just enough to invite concern. Vin didn't push, but when she returned with his order, he overheard another server whispering urgently to her near the service station. "They cut your hours again?" The young woman swallowed hard. "If I complain, I lose the job." That was enough. Later, Vin quietly struck up conversation with a dishwasher and a senior waiter, people who knew the backstory. Piece by piece, the truth emerged. The server's name was Maya. She was a single mother of a 6-year-old boy. Her partner had died 2 years earlier. She worked double shifts not because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. The manager had been targeting her. Public scoldings. Impossible expectations. Threats masked as feedback. One small mistake tonight, a spilled drink, had earned her humiliation in front of the kitchen staff. "She cries almost every night," the waiter whispered. "But she never quits. Says her kid needs her." Vin felt anger rise, slow, controlled, dangerous. This wasn't just mismanagement. This was abuse. And it was happening under his name. Vin signaled the manager politely, like any ordinary customer would. The man approached with confidence, the kind that came from thinking you were untouchable. "Everything all right, sir?" the manager asked. Vin smiled calmly. "I have a few questions." They spoke quietly at first. Vin asked about staff scheduling. About disciplinary procedures. About how complaints were handled. The manager answered smoothly, too smoothly. Policies sounded perfect on paper. Humanity was nowhere in sight. Vin leaned in slightly. "And how do you handle staff when they're overwhelmed?" The manager shrugged. "Pressure builds character." That was the moment. Vin straightened, removed his cap, and met the man's eyes. His voice dropped, steady, unmistakable. "My name is Vin Diesel. And this restaurant belongs to me." The manager's face drained of color. The dining room seemed to hold its breath. The restaurant fell silent as Vin Diesel, or rather, the mysterious man in black, revealed the truth. The manager's confident mask crumbled almost immediately. Staff watched in stunned silence, their quiet suffering finally validated by someone who had the authority to act. Vin's tone was calm, deliberate, and commanding. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't yell or humiliate. Instead, he listed incidents, dates, and prior complaints that had mysteriously disappeared from the official records. Every word was precise, almost surgical. He wanted the truth to be undeniable, leaving no room for excuses. One by one, witnesses, waiters, dishwashers, even the hostess, stepped forward, emboldened by Vin's presence. They shared stories of public humiliation, impossible expectations, and subtle threats from the manager. Each confession was like a hammer striking the invisible chains that had held them captive. Fear had silenced them before, but now courage filled the room. Vin turned his gaze toward the manager. The man's face had gone pale, and sweat glistened on his forehead. No words could escape him, not because he had nothing to say, but because the weight of accountability had finally caught up. "Your time here is over," Vin said quietly but firmly. It wasn't anger, it was justice. The manager's dismissal wasn't a dramatic spectacle, but it resonated with authority. The staff didn't cheer, they were too shocked, but a palpable sense of relief washed over the room. Vin didn't stop at termination. He immediately appointed a senior staff member known for fairness and kindness as the interim manager. He made sure the policies that had allowed abuse to flourish were revised. A culture of respect and empathy began to take root that night. By the time Vin left the restaurant that evening, the place felt different. Lighter. Kinder. Staff moved with confidence instead of fear. Servers who had once hesitated to speak now carried themselves with a renewed sense of dignity. Justice had been served, but more importantly, the staff had been reminded that their voices mattered and that someone was willing to listen and act. This was more than managerial correction, it was a transformation. And it began with acknowledging the truth that had been hidden behind kitchen doors and whispered apologies for far too long. The next day, Vin invited Maya, the young server who had been quietly suffering, into a private office in the restaurant. She entered cautiously, expecting perhaps another lecture or empty words of sympathy. Instead, she found kindness and understanding. Vin sat across from her, calm and attentive. "I'm sorry for what you went through," he said sincerely. There was no pretense. No pressure. Just acknowledgement of her pain and the injustice she had endured. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Relief, disbelief, and gratitude collided in a single moment. For the first time, someone with power had noticed her struggle and acted, not out of obligation, but out of genuine concern. Vin didn't stop there. He offered Maya immediate financial support, covering overdue bills and providing access to childcare resources, ensuring she could focus on work without fearing for her child's well-being. But beyond that, he offered her growth, training, leadership opportunities, and a clear path to advancement within the restaurant. The transformation wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. Maya walked out of the office with her head held higher than she had in months, a mixture of relief and newfound confidence radiating from her. The restaurant itself seemed brighter when she returned to the floor. The tension that had hung like a shadow over the staff dissipated, replaced by camaraderie, respect, and hope. Vin left that evening, satisfied not only with the correction of past wrongs but also with the lasting change he had initiated. Maya cried again, but this time, they were tears of joy. The injustice she had suffered for so long was finally addressed, and her future was secure. The story of that night would be remembered not just as a moment of accountability but as a turning point, a reminder that kindness, courage, and intervention can change lives. Sometimes, the right person in the right place at the right time can make all the difference.